Yes. Well, there is a segue. It does pertain to what we were just talking about with the rookies. John Hollinger wrote a great piece on how good the rookies have been, and while Ricky Rubio might not be of this specific draft class, I really like this draft class. I love Tristan Thompson of my Cleveland Cavaliers. Love, of course, the aforementioned Kyrie Irving. A lot of other guys are showing out around the league, and my rumor looking forward is that we'll look back on this as a very strong draft class, despite talking up how weak the draft class was into the draft. So I think we'll look back, think it's strong, and I also want to know, and I want to ask you guys, why does it seem that we call every draft class weak until it happens?
Well, I think that one issue here is that the draft classes that are coming in are, I think that when a draft class comes in and everyone's only played 1 year, it actually gets less hype than if they come right out of high school or if they had, played 3 years. So there's like this weird 1 year dynamic where, of course, like you're gonna have up and downs in your first 20 games of college basketball. Not everyone can come in and dominate. And I think that's one effect.
Yeah.
The other is that I think people just can't imagine college players being good at NBA basketball.
Yeah.
It is like a really bizarre dynamic, and that unless there's some kind of overwhelming talent coming into the league, it depresses the whole draft class. Whereas we might have 10 to 15 very solid rotation players coming out of this class, for the next 15 years. Brandon Knight, what?
I would just like to respond with I think it's just easier to say they're weak because everyone rushes to judge and say like, oh, I knew this guy was going to be terrible. But mainly I want to discuss real quick, why does everyone think Anthony Davis is that good? What am I missing with him? Because he's not bad. He's going to be a potential all-star, but as a number one pick, like everyone's clamoring to get Anthony Davis. I don't see it.
I'm resisting the urge not to make the angry face that T.O. and Breaking Bad makes. You're just gonna have to watch the show if you don't know about that face, because I am so angry. The mother hen instincts have been triggered because Anthony Davis is a favorite of mine. Here's what's good about Anthony Davis. He's averaging, I believe, over 4.5 blocks a game as a freshman in college. Blocks are huge. They're huge when it comes to projecting.
Donald Foyle had 6 per game.
NBA talent.
He was.
Who? What?
Donald Foyle. He averaged like 6 per game in college. He was awesome.
As a freshman, I mean, not only that, Anthony Davis is just shooting south of 70%. He's got a double-double. He can't use a lot of the skills that he would need in the NBA because of John Calipari's offense. He can't, they don't have him dribble and create for himself. It's not that kind of system. But he does have a great stroke and he does have a great handle, and I think that he could become just an awesome power forward / center as a defensive force, a roving defensive force who can just play the pick and roll perfectly. And frankly, I would love to have him on the Warriors. And also, how dare you?
Yeah, he's definitely a big talent. The thing that I like about him, you see him in Calipari's offense, is that he is the guy on top of the key who does the ball reversal and screen and is entrusted maybe not with dribbling the ball and creating for himself in isolation, but with distributing the ball and with handling the ball, like literally having it in his hands a lot. And I think that that's, from the jump, something that shows you a lot about him, as obviously we know he's a freak athlete. He's got great hands and feet. But the fact that he's trusted with holding the ball and he doesn't turn it over at a ridiculous rate, I mean, that's something that I think as someone drafting would be really excited about. My issue with him is that if the Wizards draft him, I'm in D.C., if the Wizards draft him, we're going to have like 9 tweener forwards on this team. And eventually I'm going to have to rant about Andre Blatch and this whole team. I mean, it's awful, but I don't even think that Anthony Davis could help them. Like, the Wizards are beyond saving. They're tanking for something that's like never going to get them out of this culture of suck that is just impossible to watch. If you haven't gone to Grantland and read Rafe's piece on it, you really should, because it is awesome.